Hi, good evening, everyone. So, we are going to start the process of installing the Windows Server today. So, as we tried to install the Kali Linux yesterday, and we were able to install the Kali Linux in Oracle VirtualBox. So, today we'll go through the steps of how to install the Windows Server in the Oracle VirtualBox. So, currently, as you can see, I have already opened VirtualBox and I'll create a new virtual machine which will be for the Windows Server 2022. So in here we have already created it, but for the sake of this demo, I'll be creating a new one. So the first step that we have to do is we have to create a new machine by clicking on this new option. Then give the name as YCCE Windows Server. So in my case, I have already created the Windows Server earlier. So I'll give a name as Windows Server 2 in this for this demo. So from here, you have to browse if you have not used the Windows Server earlier. Then you can browse by selecting the other option and then browsing it to the location of the Windows Server. So in my case, I'll be going to the Windows Server ISO file, which is this one. So as you can see, it has already identified that the edition is 2022, and the other details are already auto-populated. So in here, I won't be doing an unattended installation. Unattended installation is like we don't need to like change any details over here. In Since we are doing it for the first time, we won't be doing the unattended installation. So in here, click on skip unattended installation. For the hardware part, give it as 4 GB, which is 4096 MB, and for the processor, you give as two processors. For the hard disk, you give as a little less than the 30 GB. Then you can click on finish. So once you click on finish, it should appear like this, and you have to click on start. So we have started it, and it should come like this. I'll maximize this window. So this is the first window that should come after we have configured it. So for as we are from India, so we'll be selecting as the time format as India. Remaining things are okay. Language to install is English United States, keyboard English India, and then click on next. Click on install now as we are installing it for the first time. Then in here you can see there are different editions. So these all four are different editions of the same Windows Server 2022 version. So in here we won't be requiring, so different editions have different features. So for a small description is given for this, but for our sake, it's okay for us to use the standard evaluation desktop experience. The options others than this desktop experience will give you a terminal, a CLI environment where you won't be getting any graphical environment as it's already mentioned here. So as we need a graphical environment, we'll be using this one, the second one, which is the standard evaluation desktop experience. So once we click on, yeah, we have to accept the terms, then click on next. Since this is the first installation, we don't need to select upgrade as there is no operating system installed in this virtual machine. So click on custom and select the whole size, which is 29.6 GB, which is a little less than the 30 GB. Click on this one and click on next. So now the installation will be started. As you can see, this is already started. Depending on your on the speed of your particular laptop or desktop, it will take some time. So in our case, since we are not using an SSD, it might take some time. For example, it might take around 5 to 10 minutes. So in between we don't have like any other steps. So now I'll be pausing the video and I'll resume once we are approaching the end of this installation. Hi, we are back. So as we can see, it's already 97%. So it took us nearly 3 minutes for installation to get us to the 100%. It's not yet completed. So after this, after all the remaining options of installing updates and finishing up, it will restart the virtual machine, and after that we'll be going over few more steps. So after this, like, it will restart the virtual machine, and then we need to set up our users. So in our case, we'll be using the password which I've already shared in the WhatsApp group. So in the background, still the installations are going on. So once those are completed, so now it's starting the services. So then we have to like use the password which we have already shared in the group. So that password will be the administrator password. Also, like, we need to change the host name for this particular machine. So it should load anytime soon. Also, that we should uh, make sure that this particular virtual machine is attached to a NAT network. So it won't be in a bridge network. The NAT network will be more secure than a bridge network, and it separates the your home network from this network. So in that network you'll still get the internet connectivity, but still it won't be in the same network which is from your home network. So why we are using that network and internet connectivity, because there might be few tools installations that are needed, and also like NAT. In the NAT network, we need to set up our static IP. The IP which we are getting currently will be a DHCP IP, which means that we are automatically getting the IP address from the provider. In our case, this Oracle Virtual Proxy is providing us the IP. So the gateway will be the interface, or the interface for the Oracle VirtualBox. So the default gateway will be that. So we whatever IP we are getting will be setting the same IP as, but as a static IP. Once it is loaded, all the installations are completed. So why need a static IP? Because the three machines that we will be using, which is Kali, Windows Server, and the Windows client, Windows 10 client. So they need to be on the same network, as we need to configure the Active Directory in our Windows client, as well as we have to communicate between all the three hosts. So all communication in the three hosts can be possible if they are in the same network. If we have not routed it properly. So in the background, as you can see, it has restarted once, and now it should ask me for a username and password. So if you are using a SSD, it will be faster than what you are able to see right now. So now, as I mentioned earlier, we will be setting the password as YCCE and the red 1 2 3 4 5, and click again. So Y will be capital and the remaining will small letters, then at the red symbol and numeric 1 2 3 4 5. The same password is also used in the re-enter password, and then click on finish. So now it will save this password and it will start the desktop. So once we are into the desktop, we have two more things to do, which is setting the host name as the Windows Server for YCCE, and then we have to set the static IP. So now in order to give in order to send this alt control alt and delete, we can use a keyboard, and the easiest way is using this. Click on input, click on keyboard, and click on insert control alt and del. So once you enter this, the login window should come. So you enter the same password which you have just set. Click on this to verify, and then click here, or you can press enter. So this is starting for the first time. It will take some time. So in my case, I'm using Linux as the base operating system. In your case, as we have already checked that you all are using a Windows based operating system. So in this case, also there is one additional step that you need to do is installing the guest additions to the image. So what will help is that we'll be able to change the resolutions properly. We can copy paste easily. Drag drop will work. Currently it is bidirectional, means we can copy and paste from the host to the guest, and from the guest to the host. So as you can see, it's self-explanatory for host to guest and guest to host. If you select like that, it will come like that. For now, I'll be selecting all this. Shared clipboard. Clipboard will be like copy paste. So if you are trying to copy anything command or anything from your host to guest or guest to host, or bi-directional. So here also I'll be selecting bi-directional. Currently, I won't be sharing any folders, that is not required. So the remaining things we have already done earlier. So you can click on inserts additional cd image. In my case, I would be installing right now. You can click on download. It will try to download and install it. So this should, this is downloaded, it should come in your this PC, or if you click on here, it should come here. So right now it's not present since it is downloading. I'll close it. It's not required for me right now. Yeah. So first of all, what we'll do is we have to set the host name. So for setting up the host name, you can go to the properties. You just need to change or rename this particular machine. So what is the current name? You can see it's already given as device name win something. So you can click on rename this PC. So give the name as YCCE domain. This will be the host name. So why we are changing the host name is just to identify this machine, in the network. So when we have currently we have configured only one machine, so it's easier for us to remember like which machine we are talking about. But in a network, in a corporate network, or in a network where we have multiple machines, so it will be very hard to remember the host name for each and every one of that. So if you keep the host name depending on the category, for example, if you are using a Windows server, their Windows server will be used as maybe for a domain admin, or a backup, um, or a back as a backup server. Then read-only domain controller. There are different kinds of servers that can be used. The Windows server can be used as, but for each of the functionality, they will be renamed, or the host name will be of different name to identify, just to identify in the network. So here, click on input, click on keyboard, and click send, insert control alt del. So in here, give the password ycce and grade 12345. So currently the host name should be changed to what we have just given as ycce hyphen domain. So the remaining task for today will be setting up the static IP. So before we set up the static IP, we have to check what is the current IP. So for checking the current IP, we can go from command prompt as well, or we can directly select this, click on open an internet sharing center, click on ethernet, change adapter options. So in here you can see only one interface, which is called the ethernet. So in here you can go to details. You can see the IP, default gateway, and everything. So the DNS is 192.168.1.1. So another way of checking this is from command prompt. Instead of typing, you can also go to Windows Start, Windows System, and click on command prompt. In here you are logged in as the administrator, since this is a single user present in this Windows server. Normally in a Windows server you will be getting the administrator mostly, or a different user which has some kind of privilege, not a low level user. So net user, here you can see what all users are present. We'll be explaining all those in the classes. So for now, clear is not a command for Windows. So CLS, we clear the screen, and then from now I'll be checking only the IP. So for that we can type ipconfig only for checking the IP, or we can also type ipconfig/all for checking all the details. In our case, there is only one interface, so it is showing the details of that interface only. So there is DHCP 6 version 6 also, which is getting the IP from for DHCP version 6. This is not required. We'll uncheck this again. We'll click on go back. We'll start from the beginning. Click on properties. Go to IPv4. Then use the following IP. Give the IP which you have received earlier. So the IP that we have received is 10.0.2.15, and the subnet mask is 255.255.0, and default gateway is 10.0.0, sorry, 2.2. The preferred DNS here is 192.168.1.1, but we can give this as a one alternate one. Here we'll give 10.0.2.2. Okay, so we can disable IPv6 also. That's done. Again, we'll check the IP. It is same. So it should be all the configuration is done. If you have already installed the guest additions in the image, then you can try changing the resolution as per your system. In our case, we won't be doing that. So this is the configuration that we wanted to do for Windows Server. So remaining configurations will be done in the classes. So all the installations are done for Windows Server, and we for the Windows 10, this will be your homework to set up the Windows 10, which is similar to the installation for Windows Server. So for Windows 10, you can give 2 GB of RAM instead of giving 4 GB of RAM. That is the only difference. Yeah, so thank you for joining the call or watching this video, and have a nice day. Bye.